In the wake of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's arrest, something unprecedented is unfolding inside Buckingham Palace. Behind closed doors, a quiet but powerful shift is taking place. King Charles is reportedly beginning to transfer authority to Prince William, a move that is creating tension at the highest level, especially with Queen Camilla. Insiders claim that William has already issued firm ultimatums, while Catherine is working tirelessly behind the scenes to stabilize the situation. At the same time, Camilla is said to be growing increasingly frustrated, even combative, as her influence appears to be challenged. This is no longer just palace gossip, it's a question of who truly controls the future of the monarchy. Everything traces back to a single crisis that changed the trajectory of the royal family. When Andrew was arrested in early 2026, it didn't just create a scandal, it forced a structural reset. And at the center of that reset stands Prince William. According to sources close to the palace, he has been preparing for this moment for years, quietly building influence and positioning himself as the one ready to act when others hesitated. Even while his father remains king, William is increasingly seen as the one driving key decisions. This shift didn't happen overnight. Long before the current crisis, William had already recognized the risks surrounding Andrew. Palace aides had reportedly raised concerns years earlier, and William took them seriously. After Andrew's disastrous 2019 interview regarding his association with Jeffrey Epstein, William pushed strongly for immediate action, warning that failure to act could severely damage the monarchy's credibility. At the time, those warnings were largely resisted. The late Queen was reluctant to act harshly against her son, and Charles, then Prince of Wales, found himself caught between loyalty and responsibility. But William didn't back down. He continued to emphasize that public trust in the monarchy was fragile, and now, years later, his concerns appear to have been justified. Andrew's arrest has become the very scenario William feared most, forcing decisive action. Over recent months, he has reportedly played a central role in major decisions, removing titles, enforcing distance, and ensuring that Andrew is fully separated from royal life. This is no longer just King Charles managing a family issue. It is William shaping the institution's response. At the same time, another factor is accelerating this shift: King Charles's health. Since his cancer diagnosis in 2024, there has been growing concern about how much responsibility he can realistically carry. Despite continuing his duties, the strain is visible. And when the monarch weakens, the system begins to adapt. That adaptation is already underway. There are increasing reports that Charles is considering gradually transferring more responsibility to William, not as a formal abdication, but as a practical necessity. The idea of an accelerated succession is no longer unthinkable. It's being quietly prepared, and this is where the tension intensifies. Because as William steps forward, not everyone is aligned with how that future should look. Despite official denials, the reality inside the palace appears to be shifting faster than anyone is willing to admit publicly. King Charles has not formally announced any intention to step down, and palace officials continue to dismiss rumors of a rapid transition. Yet behind the scenes, the signs point in a different direction. Prince William is taking on more responsibility with each passing month, stepping into roles that were once tightly controlled by the monarch alone. One of the clearest signals came when Charles granted William and Catherine the authority to issue royal warrants, a privilege historically guarded by the reigning sovereign. On the surface, it may seem like a minor administrative change. In reality, it represents a significant transfer of influence. It allows the future king and queen to publicly endorse businesses and shape the commercial face of the monarchy. That kind of power is never handed over lightly. But this is only part of the picture. More importantly, William is now deeply involved in shaping the monarchy's future direction. He is no longer just the heir waiting in line, he is acting as an active partner in decision-making. In some cases, insiders suggest he is already leading those decisions. Sources indicate that Charles is not only allowing this shift, but actively guiding William through it, preparing him to take control during a period of instability. At 77, and while battling cancer, Charles understands something few are saying out loud: his reign may be shorter than expected. The transition is no longer a distant event. It is happening now, and with that transition comes a very different vision for what the monarchy should become. Prince William is not interested in preserving the institution exactly as it is. He wants to reshape it, modernize it, bring it closer to the structure of a professional, accountable organization. His approach borrows from the corporate world, emphasizing clear roles, transparency, and measurable outcomes. Where traditional royal systems relied heavily on long-standing courtiers and unwritten rules, William's model pushes for clarity and structure. He has already tested this approach through the Royal Foundation, the charitable organization he runs with Catherine. It operates like a modern institution with leadership, governance, defined objectives, and public accountability. And according to those close to him, this is the blueprint he intends to expand across the monarchy itself. But William understands the challenge. Change in an institution built on tradition cannot be sudden. It must be controlled, gradual, and carefully presented. As he himself has acknowledged, reforming the monarchy means balancing progress with continuity, introducing new systems without breaking the image of stability that defines it. Because the monarchy, at its core, survives on perception, it must look timeless even when it is evolving. William's strategy reflects that reality. His management of the Duchy of Cornwall already shows a more structured, results-driven approach, signaling how he intends to operate on a larger scale. He is not waiting for the crown to begin leading. He has already started. Those closest to Prince William say he has a habit of questioning long-standing royal traditions, constantly asking whether they still serve a real purpose. For him, accountability is not optional, it's central. The goal, according to insiders, is simple: a monarchy that is not just symbolic, but effective, respected, and clearly beneficial to the public. It has to be fit for purpose in a modern world. But that vision is not universally accepted within the royal family, and the strongest resistance is coming from an unexpected place. Queen Camilla. What began as a difference in perspective is now turning into a clear and growing divide. At the center of it is Camilla's long-standing friendship with Sarah Ferguson, the former wife of Prince Andrew. For William, this connection represents a serious reputational risk. His position is firm: anyone linked, even indirectly, to controversy surrounding Andrew must be completely distanced from the monarchy. In his view, the only way to protect the institution is through a clean and decisive break. The issue is complicated by past associations. Sarah Ferguson's name has appeared in documents connected to Jeffrey Epstein, not as someone accused of wrongdoing, but as someone who had contact and financial interactions during difficult periods in her life. While there is no evidence of criminal activity, the association alone is enough to raise concerns about perception, and in royal life, perception is everything. William understands that. To him, even the appearance of closeness between the Queen and someone connected to scandal sends the wrong message. It weakens credibility at a time when the monarchy can least afford it. But Camilla sees the situation very differently. Her friendship with Sarah dates back decades long before titles, roles, and public scrutiny. For her, loyalty is not something that can be switched on and off based on headlines. She believes cutting ties purely for optics would be both unfair and unnecessary. And that's where the clash intensifies. Because while Camilla has shown she is willing to act playing a role in decisions that distanced Andrew from royal life, she prefers a measured approach, one that balances responsibility with personal loyalty. William, on the other hand, wants clarity, finality, no gray areas, two strategies, two mindsets, one growing divide. And it doesn't stop there. Because while William and Camilla are clashing over direction, another tension is quietly building, one that is even more personal. The dynamic between Catherine and Camilla is becoming increasingly strained. According to insiders, Catherine has stepped forward during the crisis, working closely with palace staff to manage public messaging and stabilize the monarchy's image after Andrew's arrest. In doing so, she has taken on a more visible leadership role, and that hasn't gone unnoticed. Reports suggest that Camilla is uncomfortable with Catherine's increasing involvement, viewing it as interference rather than support. There has always been a degree of distance between them, but now that distance is turning into friction. From Camilla's perspective, Catherine's actions risk overshadowing her position. From Catherine's perspective, it's about protecting the institution. Two women, two roles, both close to the crown, and now, increasingly, on a collision course. Behind the scenes, Catherine has stepped fully into crisis mode, consulting legal advisors, coordinating messaging, and ensuring that William's strategy for handling the scandal is executed with precision. But this growing involvement has created friction. From Camilla's perspective, it makes both her and King Charles appear weak, as though they are unable to manage the situation without intervention from the next generation. She reportedly believes the last thing the king needs is the perception that he requires guidance. Charles, however, sees it differently. He has consistently defended Catherine, insisting that her actions come from a place of support, not control. Still, the tension is undeniable. According to insiders, Camilla's frustration has become increasingly visible. The strain between her and Catherine has been building for years, but the Andrew crisis has pushed it to the surface. When the scandal broke, it was William and Catherine who were seen stepping forward at public events, presenting stability and reassurance. Behind closed doors, Catherine was also involved in key discussions, helping shape the palace's response. In moments where leadership needed to be visible, it was the future king and queen who filled the space. And that shift did not go unnoticed. Even the quiet murmurs about whether Charles should step back, though not widely supported, highlight how fragile the situation has become. The mere existence of those conversations signals a monarchy under pressure. In that environment, Camilla finds herself in a difficult position. She must either defend her role and authority or accept that power is gradually moving toward William and Catherine. That transition became even more explicit during a reported confrontation in early 2026. According to insiders, William delivered a direct and uncompromising message regarding Camilla's friendship with Sarah Ferguson. The choice, he allegedly made clear, was simple distance publicly from controversial associations or risk further damage to the monarchy's reputation. This was not a suggestion, it was an ultimatum, and that moment changed everything. Because traditionally, an heir does not issue demands to the queen consort. But these are not traditional times. William is now widely believed to hold significant authority over decisions tied to the Andrew scandal and the monarchy's public image authority that appears to have been quietly granted by King Charles himself. His focus is clear: restore public trust, no matter how difficult the choices may be. Camilla, however, is not aligned with that approach. Her resistance has left her increasingly isolated within the decision-making structure. Even her attempts to reinforce her public image, such as meeting with high-profile figures connected to social causes, have faced criticism. Online reactions have questioned whether she can publicly support certain causes while maintaining private relationships that appear, at least in perception, connected to controversy. For William, this only reinforces his position. The monarchy, in his view, cannot afford contradictions. There can be no exceptions, no blurred lines, no prioritizing personal loyalty over institutional survival. And if that means working around resistance, he is prepared to do so, limiting influence where necessary and waiting for the moment when full authority rests in his hands. Because that moment is coming. And when it does, the monarchy is expected to look very different. William's vision is clear: a smaller, more controlled institution, with fewer working royals and stricter boundaries around who represents the crown. The era of informal influence and unspoken privileges is ending. In its place will be a structure that resembles a modern organization: defined roles, accountability, transparency, and professional management. No more decisions made quietly behind palace doors. No more protection for those who damage the institution. No more confusion about where loyalty lies. Because for William, the future of the monarchy depends on one thing above all else: control. Prince William has made his position unmistakably clear: anyone who brings scandal to the monarchy, no matter how close they are to him, will be removed without hesitation. This is not just a policy, it's a line in the sand. And as Catherine moves closer to becoming queen consort, her role is expected to be far more active and influential than Camilla's ever was. She is already operating as a strategic partner to William, working alongside him in shaping the monarchy's response to crisis, and that partnership is only set to grow stronger. But before that future fully arrives, the monarchy must survive the present. Insiders say the coming months are critical. If the royal family can manage the Andrew scandal effectively, demonstrating accountability, transparency, and real reform, it may emerge stronger than before. But if it fails, the consequences could be far more serious. Public trust, once lost, is difficult to rebuild. And with growing scrutiny, even conversations about the future of the monarchy itself are becoming louder. Because right now, what the country needs is stability. But what it is witnessing is transition. King Charles remains on the throne, but the balance of power is already shifting. William is gaining real authority. Camilla still holds the title of Queen Consort, but her influence is being challenged. And Catherine is no longer just a supporting figure. She is actively shaping strategy at the highest level. The old guard is still in place, but the new guard is already taking control. As the Andrews scandal continues to unfold, with the possibility of further revelations and legal consequences, William's position will only strengthen. In times of crisis, attention naturally shifts toward the future, and right now, that future is him. A younger, more decisive figure, preparing to take charge while the current monarch faces both political pressure and personal health challenges. So what we are witnessing is not just internal conflict. It is the monarchy reinventing itself in real time. And not everyone is comfortable with that, because change, especially at this level, never comes quietly. It comes with resistance, with tension, with moments that redefine everything that comes after. And the biggest question now isn't whether change is coming. It's who will still be standing when it's complete.